Yo guys, what's going on? BFViking here, and today we're going to be taking a look at some tips that you can use that'll drastically improve your chances of winning more and more games in solos with the Firestorm game mode. I've played quite a lot of hours so far, and after playing around with my settings, exploring the map and using different weapons, I have found some really good tips that will give you a huge advantage over all the other players. So let's jump straight into this. One of the very first things that you can do that will give you a massive advantage is to do with your sound, and this will work even if you are not using headphones. As you know, hearing footsteps and enemies around you is very important, and to improve this, we can change one simple setting. All you have to do is go into the game options, go into audio, and then choose the War Tapes audio setting. Now what this does is it makes all of the ambient noises around you much louder, such as footsteps, doors opening, closing, and people interacting with the environment. And this will give you a massive sound whoring capability, and you'll be able to hear any enemy movements from miles away. Second tier on the list, and this may not seem important whatsoever, but believe me, it can make the difference between losing the game and getting that dub, especially in Battlefield 5. So once you load into a Firestorm lobby, you'll be given the option to choose from one of your characters from either the Allied side or the German side. And always go for the German faction, as this will make you much more difficult to see, and let me tell you why. Firstly, the British faction is equipped with green and brown uniforms, which will stick out like a sore thumb against the snow and the rocky background of the Firestorm map. But for the German side, you are given grey uniforms, which blends in really well with the environment, such as the snow and those rocks. Play around with your outfit a bit in the My Company section and see which works best for you, but definitely make sure to go with the German faction, as it really does make a massive difference. For my third tip here is to play as defensively as you can, and when I say this, I don't mean just find a house and camp in the corner like a 5-year-old home alone on Halloween. What I mean is, as the circle gets closer and closer, try and move from building to building, scouting out the environment around you, looking out for positions that enemies are most likely to move into, and also look out for where you are going to move next. Realizing the circle is closing in on you and you don't have a clue where you're going is the worst case scenario to be in, which then leads to running out in the open and getting lit up from a million different angles. So always keep your surroundings in mind. In fact, you don't even have to use houses or buildings. The Firestorm map is covered in forests and little crevasses that you can hide in, so make good use of them and take your enemies out by surprise. My fourth tip here, which may seem obvious, but people still forget to do it, is to have two different types of weapons. There's no point whatsoever in having an SMG and a shotgun, as they are both used in close quarters combat. I recommend having one weapon that's good for close range, and one weapon that is good for those longer ranges. Going into a house with two sniper rifles is a really bad idea, so make sure that you have two different weapons that both perform in two different situations. And also, don't be afraid to pick up a pistol, as it doesn't take up one of your main weapon slots. For my final tip here, which sounds very easy, and it is, but not many people do it, is to keep an eye on your inventory and what you are taking in. The looting system in Firestorm is pretty garbage at the moment, and it can be very hard to pick up individual pieces of loot, so people tend to spam up that pickup key in an attempt to get what they're looking for, which can lead to a very clogged up inventory. So what I recommend you do is, after you loot a body or an area, find some cover and take a few seconds to sort out what is in your inventory. There's no point having shotgun shells if you don't have a shotgun, so always make sure to keep your inventory clean, as it can really make the difference when you are in a panicked situation. Also, a bonus tip here, which I have learned the hard way, is never try to open a vault while you're playing solos. While you're playing in squads, it's fine as somebody's gonna have your back, but when you're playing solos, don't even bother, as all these vaults contain are vehicles which are gonna require more than one person to operate effectively anyways. But what I do recommend you do is use these vaults as bait. Noobs will be trying to get into these vaults as quickly as can to get a tank or some higher tier loot, but once they're being opened, they will cause an alarm to sound, alerting people nearby that they are being opened. So find yourself a good overview onto these vaults, wait a few minutes and see if anybody tries to open one, and you should get a few easy kills. So there we have it. A lot of these tips I gave you were habits that you'll need to practice over time, but once you do so, they will become second nature and lead to a much better playstyle and also a lot more solo wins. If you guys want to see a guide on how you can win more in squads, make sure to leave a like and a share to let me know. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next Battlefield video.